Good day to you one and all. Welcome to Justin Hawkins Rides Again, the long-form podcast. One of the biggest questions I see is how do you make it in the music industry? So this week, my producer, Jenny May Finn, has decided to probe me about my life to figure out how I made it, in inverted commas. And then we can see if we can figure out what the basic recipe for success is in the music trade. And the music trade itself, of course, has completely changed. My experiences of breaking through from 20 years ago, but maybe this might give you an insight into how it was for me and my experience of trying to get to the top. I mean, assuming I was trying. There was some brilliant, tangential meanderings within this conversation, as there always are. And I think a lot of the time we sort of focused on the authenticity of an emerging act. When you're in a band and there's a lot of stuff happening around you, you're in a music scene, as it were, you're always acutely aware of what other bands are doing. And I've noticed that even in recent times, like if I go to a writing session, like an artist might say to me, oh, I want to sound like the latest, Imagine, as an example, Imagine Dragons song, because that's the one that's at number one right now. So it's all about being authentic. I mean, a lot of the conversation we had today is about being authentic to your original vision and making sure that authenticity drips off it to the point where it's undeniable. And there's stuff about, building an audience and all of the things that we had to do in the early noughties. I suppose the landscape has changed a lot with social media and so on, but I hope some of this is relevant to now anyway. You can also listen to this podcast on Apple Podcasts and Spotify if you can't watch all of it at once. You could upload it to your iRiver or whatever it is you listen to those things on and go for a little stroll in the sunshine. It'd be nice. So anyway, while you're watching this one, all I must do now is bid to you, please to enjoy. Please to enjoy. Good day to you one and all. It is I, Justin Hawkins, and this is Justin Hawkins Rides Again, the long-form podcast. Today, I'll be talking to my producer, Jenny May Finn, and the subject of this episode is...
How you made it.
What?
How you made it.
How I made it.
Yeah.
Some people say to me, you've really made it. Actually, one person says that to me.
Who?
Michael.
Michael's a good friend.
He is, but I feel like he just says it, and I don't think he really means it.
Also, he only has a limited vocabulary in English.
I think he's
Swiss German.
Well, that is that, yeah. But he also, I think when I spend more time with him, his vocabulary expands, but then it contracts again when I haven't spent much time with him. He's got 2 children now, and they've moved out of St. Gallen. So
you've got no friends?
No friends. I don't need friends. Justin Hawkins rides again. I'm going to stop doing that. I think it ruins it. I'll try again. Justin Hawkins rides again. Again. That's better, isn't it?
I think you picked it up over time.
I just started to elaborate on it, and it's out of boredom, but it's not the right thing. Got to keep it simple. Okay, so today's episode is going to be about the early days of, I suppose, but I don't know how relevant that is to today's music trade. But we're going to talk about how the darkness came up and all that stuff, right? And
you.
Me as an individual.
Because the main question people ask is, how do I make it? I even got someone DMing me on Instagram today being like, how do you get into the industry? But as a me.
You mean as a producer?
Yeah, as a person that oscillates around eccentrics.
And facilitates the lives of people like me.
Yeah.
Okay. And how did you reply to that?
I didn't reply. You know I don't like talking to people.
So the first lesson is don't waste your time replying to stupid questions like that.
Well, no. In my head it was like tenacity, which somebody else said recently. And I was like, yeah, because I think that's the type of trait I have.
Yeah.
Right? I'm very much like, I want to do this thing and I'm going to do it anyway, whether you want it or not, and it's going to help you.
And then the person that's like me reluctantly goes along with it and then realises that, oh, okay, that was a good idea. So I suppose what we've learned is that it's a question that everybody asks.
What? How you make it?
I suppose they ask, how did you make it, with a view to figuring out how they can make it.
Well, when did you want to make it in music? Did you make it? Did you have a decision? Make a decision in your mind?
No, my decision was I definitely wanted to do something to do with music, whether it was working in a recording studio or I suppose that I never thought beyond working in a recording studio at first. That was the first thing. I did my GCSE work experience at the age of 14 at what's it called? Purple Rain Recording Studios, named after the Prince album. But it was in Galston, which is, I'm pretty sure that's a place that Prince has never been before.
No, but that movie about the Beatles was set there, so.
Oh, yeah, but they set it in Lowestoft and filmed it in Galston, didn't they? Or was it the other way around?
I saw it on the plane to Qatar. It was really weird watching it in that context.
Is that the one about somebody wakes up and then the Beatles didn't exist?
Yeah, but he remembers all the songs and he plagiarises the Beatles.
Mm-hmm. Which one of the Beatles does he pretend to be?
He doesn't pretend to be anyone.
He's just singing the songs.
He's him. He's saying it's all him. He doesn't say this is Beatles music. He's like, I've come up with all these hits.
Wow.
But then oh no, I can't give
Go on.
away the story. No, I'll give away the whole thing. You should watch it.
But then there's another guy who wakes up and he remembers all the Rolling Stones songs or something.
The Rolling Stones still exist. Oh, Coke doesn't exist though.
The Coca-Cola?
Yeah.
Or the cocaine?
Coca-Cola.
Okay.
You looked really upset for a second.
I don't want to live in the world like that. Okay, so... And then what happens?
No, this isn't okay, go watch it.
I'm not going to watch it.
You'll like it because they'll keep... You can pretend you're him. They'll be like, oh my God, a famous guy from Lowestoft.
I used to get people saying that to me when I was walking the dog. Oh my God, a famous person from Lowestoft, in Lowestoft. It's incredible.
When you were in a recording studio.
Oh yeah. So yeah, I think...
Did you think this really inside your mind?
Did I think...
I haven't said what it is yet.
Oh, okay. What did I really think? You're asking me what I really thought. Go on.
Why do you look suspicious?
Because I can't remember. I don't even know what I'm thinking in this moment. So this is going to be difficult. Go on.
Did you think, I'd love to be a rock star, but I don't think I'd be good enough, and this is the safest option to get into music without the luck of having to make it? You
mean like, did I have a dreadful imposter syndrome?
Well, no, it's more like irrationality about where you'd actually be able to find success and have a legitimate career in music. Like the odds are that higher that you could have a sustained career as an engineer over a rock star, right?
Yeah, I thought, I mean, I was in bands and stuff, but I didn't think, I never, because the whole thing about music is you do it, it's like anything else that starts off as a hobby. You know, you think it's going to be fun, and then it really isn't unless you're doing it with the right people.
So it wasn't fun?
I mean, I had fun, like the first band I was in, I was having fun with some of the members and not others. And there was, I don't know, you just end up, you're always sort of looking for collaborations that are sustainable because of the fun element, you know. You always end up working with people that you just think, oh God, why do I bother? And it's always people that make you feel like that. Do you know what I mean?
When I wanted to be a rock star too, but I couldn't because I didn't know anyone who played music, so I had no one to play with. I had one friend I could play with, Steve.
What's Steve doing now? Social media manager for someone?
No, I don't know what he's doing. Stephen Fennessy. So there's only two of us, and we managed to do a gig. I roped in my ex-boyfriend at the time to do drums. But I would have liked to have been in a band, but I didn't have it. Yeah.
He was a drummer, was he?
Yeah, he was really good.
Cool.
He could have been an amazing session drummer.
Really?
If he bothered to. I tried to do what I do to everyone now, to him. I was only 15. I was like, right, we're going to get you contacts in the session industry. Blah, blah, blah.
Was he like, reluctant to audition?
No, he just had he had like this self-pitying sort of kind of, no. So he had a propensity for sadness and, just giving up.
So did Darkness's first drummer.
Yeah, so did most of the guys that I know. They were very talented. The most creative people I know, but also the people with the most inability to give themselves the best shot.
Why do you think that is? Why do people give up then?
I don't know. Some people think, oh, that weird hustle feels antithetical to the creativity, I think.
Yeah.
And they feel
Well, you're
like
talking about the stuff around the music, right?
yeah, the stuff that you have to do to make music your livelihood and your life, I guess. But there's, like, it's not just going to be this pure musical life, because you're going to have to buy food and pay rent.
But you know what the first thing you have to do is, though, like if you're from a small town, I mean, you can do it if you meet the right people, but it's very, very difficult. There's a smaller gene pool of music folk in a small town just because of numbers. And then, so you have to move to a city. Yep. That's the first thing you have to do. And then the city that you choose makes all the difference. You know, like I think London is one of the most expensive cities in the world to live in, but I also think it's the best one for creative people.
I think Liverpool or Manchester might be better now.
Really?
Yeah. All the young, good bands are coming from there.
Okay, well that's interesting. But I think
because I feel like it's smaller, so there's there's actually a scene, as in like they can walk to each other. They're not like living in this. London's so big and massive now. If I went
when
there,
I said London, I think I meant back in the days for us it was Camden. That was where the music scene was.
I feel like it's been commercialised a lot now.
Definitely, but it might have moved east or something like that, or maybe even south now.
Deptford is the jazz scene, I think. That's near where I live.
Where's the rock scene in London right now?
I think it's still Camden, but the rock scene's not really, I don't know. Like like Crawlers are from Liverpool, I think, aren't they?
Yeah.
Stone or another young band that are from Liverpool. I think he's only like 19, 20. They're pretty cool. There's a few like really proper, like you can feel like there's a scene coming out of there.
But you know why I'm saying London?
Because of the connections?
Well, it's more actually just because, the connections, there's opportunities to play, there's an audience, it's not, I mean, it's expensive to live there, but the bureaucracy isn't tight enough to enforce stuff. So you can live there, be on the dole, chase music. You can actually do that. And I don't think you can do that in, like, I always think about Switzerland, because I don't think you can do that in Switzerland. I think the bureaucracy of the Swiss system means that you have to have like things like medical insurance and stuff like that. So England's already way better, because, you know, there's a welfare state that's designed to support vulnerable people, and the most vulnerable among us are usually musicians, I think. I think that's fair, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. It is
so
hard.
People sleep on each other's floors, they work for cash in bars, and then they just do what they have to do to be able to do music. It's beautiful. It's actually romantic, isn't it?
Yeah, but in between the gigs and the music, life's probably very hard.
Yeah, definitely.
Like,
but nothing worthwhile is ever easy.
I know, but then what are you trying to achieve, if you know what I mean? I know it's romantic.
Yeah.
But maybe it's romanticised in order to get through it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Or maybe the idea of what music is and means has changed a little bit, because I always used to think it was something aspirational, and then you did have to work hard, you had to make sacrifices. Any semblance of a safety net would be the thing that undermines you, because it makes you seem like a phony if you have, like, you know, a teaching qualification or something like that to fall back on. I don't think you don't have the impetus to drive it forwards. If you make music the only thing you're going to do, then you end up having to do that, and it's, you know, winner takes all. You might end up homeless or something like that, you know, depending on, you know, if you add a little bit of mental illness in there, which is probably not uncommon in the creative and touring arts anyway. I would say the peril of chasing it in the early days is the thing that makes you or breaks you. Right?
Yeah, the breaking is unbearable though. I don't like talking about my ex-boyfriend, but that was his life. And I was sort of became the rock to try and like help him, like, do what he needed to do.
Well,
and
a lot of people will have a partner that supports them financially.
Yeah,
you know, as well.
But also mentally, because there's like even like scheduling diaries and stuff. He would be trying to gig with one band that was like signed by Sony, another band that was like jazz Afrobeat, who were really cool and should be huge because they're the most talented musicians I've ever met. But obviously they're not as commercially, I don't know, consumable. But then wasn't good at managing diaries either. So like he double booked them all the time and just the meltdown would ensue. And then
but you're talking about somebody who's playing in various different combos,
well,
right?
he's a pianist, so like one band was, they'd pay him, he would have been happy to play with either. The Afrobeat band was his band more. He wouldn't focus on his solo stuff ever, even though he probably should have. But
when I first moved to London, I was doing the music for adverts and stuff like that, and at the same time I was playing keyboards in.
You had a job, though. That's pretty good.
I mean, yeah, it wasn't a regular job, but it was. I have little bits of income every now and then, if I got a gig, you know, and every very very occasionally it'd be quite well paid, you know, and it would make it all tick over just about. And I was able to live in a bed sit for a long time, which was some of my happiest times actually. Bed sit, struggling, waiting for the next thing to come in.
What were you waiting for?
I'd always wait for an opportunity to do a demo, because I was doing it.
For what? As in like?
Well, like do a demo for an ad or something.
But were you looking to make it in music at the time, or were you just trying?
No, my ambition was to score films.
Oh,
that was it. I wanted to be like.
It still is your ambition, isn't it?
You know, John Williams type, I suppose. You know. And I did a couple of little things for films, but most of it was just adverts, really.
How did you get them, though?
Oh God! So when I was at college and I was studying music technology, because I thought I'd work in a recording studio, there was one module that was to do with what's it called? Composition, basically. So it was learning about, I suppose. I don't know. It was just learning about composition. I can't remember the specific bits of it, but it was sort of talking about how songs are structured, and I showed an aptitude for it. But I was doing it in the context of really cheesy, easy listening instrumentals, and so I wrote a few of those. And one of the lecturers at the college was like, "Oh, I want to sign you to my publishing company." And then I looked into it, and he was very much, he was publishing a lot of country music, and I was thinking, how is that going to help me? But I made a little compilation of my songs, and I wanted to do it as a cassette and give it to my granddad for Christmas, and my great uncle, because they both like organs, and there's quite a lot of organ in the instrumentation. It's like
a specific thing,
organs and vibraphones and stuff like that in it, and so I made this little album, and Dan was doing the tape copies of it. He was working at Rondor Music, which is a music publisher that got swallowed up by Universal a few years ago. But at the time it was an independent one. And it was run by Herb Alpert. It was owned by him, the trumpet player. They love easy listening music. And somebody heard the tape when Dan was recording it and then said, "Oh yeah, this will sit nicely in our catalogue, and maybe even give us an opportunity to pitch for some stuff that you can write just, specifically for things." And they started publishing me halfway through my
That's pretty good.
college course. And then so I moved to London to do that. Didn't finish the course at college, and just went and did that. So basically I just did it because it was an opportunity to do something that was music-y.
But were you making stuff all the time anyway?
What's that?
Were you making stuff all the time anyway while you were doing your college course?
Yeah, I was spending all my time doing stuff, really.
Because maybe some people don't do enough. Like they're waiting to do one thing, or they're waiting to be asked to do something, or...
Yeah, a lot of people wait for stuff to fall into their laps, and stuff does fall into your laps, but if you haven't been practicing, you don't know how to deal with it.
But even in anything, even in my thing, whenever I was doing any academic course, I was also working in whatever thing I wanted to. So when I was in university, undergrad, I worked in the loans department, so I was in charge of all the cameras and used to hand them out to all the students. Then when I was in my master's, I went and worked in a post-production company, and then got promoted after 9 months and was like colour grading bits of Top Gear and all that while
Cool.
doing like a master's dissertation, like frantically trying.
Wow.
It was kind of like my academic. I used it to. I moved to London for the same reason as well.
Mhm.
When I was 15, I was like, I have to move to London. I have
Yeah.
to move to London.
Yeah, you
So-
can't.
So I did my master's in London. There was so many places you could do it, but I chose London because that's where I needed to be. I chose the course with the least amount of contact hours, as in like lectures, so I
Yeah.
could work on the side.
Mhm.
You just,
Cool.
I think you have to work all the time. You can't just saunter around
Yeah.
doing.
It's funny because that, like, when I first came down, I was going to say I was playing keyboards for Dan and Frankie's band. I never really think of it as my band because
What were they called?
Empire.
Huh.
And I don't know. They had a singer, a really really good drummer, and I was playing keyboards. And then towards the end of that, I was sort of doing a little bit of guitar as well.
But why were you playing keyboards? I thought you were a guitar player.
I am a guitar player. I don't know why I was doing keyboards.
Why are you doing so much keyboard stuff?
I was doing keyboard stuff because the way I play guitar wasn't very fashionable. Just wasn't. And even I think Dan and Frankie weren't interested in my particular flavour at that time. You know, I'm a blues rock guitar player.
But did you want to be a guitar player in a band that was successful?
I sort of lost hope with that one when I was at college. Just thought,
Is that why you pursued the publishing stuff? Because you
yeah, I
lost
thought it'd be
hope?
better to just write music because it was just like I had some really strong affirmations from the lecturers saying that I was good at it, and I was like, "Am I? All right, I can do this then." Because it was easy for me. I just everything I did was just fun. You know, I was just having fun, and it'd been a while since I'd had fun playing guitar, so I was doing that instead because it was more fun for me.
And then what happened when you joined the band? Were they trying to make it?
Yeah, there was management. There's all sorts of things going on.
Why
You know,
did
things
they
like
choose a manager?
music industry showcases.
You mean
know?
so that was when they were Empire?
Yeah.
How did that happen? How did you get a showcase?
I don't fucking know. I was just turning up. I don't
So
know.
you turned up to a kind of pre-baked band.
Yeah, it was
Semi-baked.
pre-baked for sure. If anything, I think my contribution let some of the air out of the souffle, flattened it a bit. You know,
Or
'Cause
no, it just needed to go in for another bake.
I don't know. I'm not sure if the oven that I was putting it in was suitable for that particular recipe. Really, I was because I just want to piss around. You know, that's all I want to do.
So did you have the same drive as them when they were trying to make it?
I really don't think I did. I really
Did
don't
you
think I did.
Not really care.
I mean, I cared to the point of it's nice to be able to walk around London saying, yes, I'm in this band, we're doing this showcase this week, we're doing this, that and the other. And also like a lot of the friend group that we had at the time were on different rungs of the ladder, and some people were sort of making it and some people were doing cool stuff and other people were just starting out, and there really was a scene and everybody knew each other and all took the piss out of each other. I'm sure people were taking the piss out of us mercilessly because we were doing it to everybody else as well, you know. And it was like, but there was a couple of people that we met that I absolutely loved, and I really thought that I just saw them as megastars. I just thought they were like they were heroes to me because of the music they were doing.
What type
You
of
know?
music was it?
Well, there's one guy called AKA. His real name was Adam, and it's somebody that I used to buy weed off years ago. Well, I used to have to go to Euston and go to his flat and buy weed for some bigger lads that forced me to do that down the road.
Yeah, because I thought you were all anti-drug, weren't you?
Anti-drugs, yeah. Well,
But
that's gone
why
up.
did you move to London?
I think I was going in and out of London when I was 21, then lived there when I was 22 onwards.
That was the same as me.
Yeah. I think the first apartment that I had my name on when I wasn't just sleeping on floors was was 97, I think, so I was 22. But yeah, so that AKA guy, he was writing songs that just really moved me, and I thought were brilliant.
Were they singer-songwriter songs?
Yeah, but the stuff he did sounded a bit like post-grunge. Really cool lyricist as well. I thought he was so talented and played everything. And then he moved to LA, and I think he joined the Matrix songwriting group or something like that. And I never saw him doing stuff as a solo artist, but he should have done. You know, I thought he was heroic, so brilliant. I think he watches this as well.
Hi.
So, hi Adam.
Hi. AKA.
AKA.
Adam knows Adam. Also known as Adam.
Adam what?
Also known as Adam.
I don't know.
You never asked?
I do know his surname, but I can't remember it now.
But no, you never asked him what his thing stood for.
No, because I was in awe of him. I thought he was brilliant.
Are you allowed to ask people you're in awe of questions?
I don't think that's true.
Yeah.
I don't like doing that. I just want to.
Because you want to seem cool.
You know what? It's the mystery.
Like,
he had
cool,
mystique, even though I knew where he lived and who he was, and
that he sold weed. His job.
No, but I mean, it's mystique. There's something about it. I just didn't want to know. I didn't want to get too close to him because I just thought he was amazing.
Or you wanted to be so close to him that you were connected on a deep level.
On a deep. What are you talking about?
I'm talking about just like as in your friends.
Sensual.
No, I wasn't talking sensual. but it maybe it was
on a deep sensual level. No, I just really respected him. I think I was a bit. Every time I spoke to him, I was either buying weed off him, so I was nervous anyway, or I was blown away by the music he was making, so that made me nervous as well. Just somebody who's brilliant. You know, when you meet somebody who's brilliant, it just. I suppose it just makes you feel like. I just had the wow. Like he was just a wow guy. You know?
It's good to have wow people.
Wow people, yeah. There's so few of them. He was one of them, for sure.
You get older, I think.
Huh?
It starts to die as you get older.
Is it?
Oh, wow. Yeah.
It depends how hard you work.
Oh, I start to see everyone as equal the older I get.
Oh, you mean you don't get the wow effect of
Yeah,
people.
when I see people, I think you
So,
just sit at home in your pants eating toast sometimes. And
so wait a minute. So I think you're talking about mystique.
I don't think anyone's mysterious anymore.
Because you always imagine them sitting in their pants eating toast.
Or they're like asleep. When everyone's asleep, but they don't know someone's watching them. They're just like, that ruins the mystique as well. Someone's sleeping.
Oh, I think it's...
Yeah.
That one.
They've probably done that.
Yeah. I don't know. I think... I'm just saying about the music scene. There was people in there who you were looking at them thinking, this guy is really talented, really mysterious, sells weed, and is, you know, as an example, and then is like, but then you get to that thing where you think, well, if they can't make it, what fucking hope do we have?
Did you gig all the time?
We were gigging all the time. Yeah, we were gigging all the time.
Do you think people not gig as much anymore? Like let's say someone's a singer-songwriter or in a band or a band, in a band.
Yeah.
You need to gig, don't you? If you want to make it.
Well, you used to need to do that, yeah.
But surely building an audience is...
Yeah, but you know what I think is a good thing for building an audience?
What?
The residency.
Oh yeah, you've said this before.
Have I said it on the show before?
Maybe. It's a good idea.
I think it's a good idea because then you get like... What always happens, you start a band and your mates come and it's a full room. Brilliant. And then the next gig, fewer mates come. And then you can imagine the trajectory. It just gradually, the room thins out as you do more gigs. But I think if you play a gig in the same place every time, if one of the mates goes there and is genuinely impressed, they'll tell someone else and they'll say, oh yeah, my mate's band played there, they were really good, and they're playing there again this Friday. You know what I mean? Like there's no traipsing across town, it's the same place every time. And that's what we did. We always played at the Monarch, which became the Barfly on Chalk Farm Road.
But then the Monarch became something else. I went back and there was a Monarch, wasn't there?
There's another Monarch up the road. I don't know what's going on.
I was in that Monarch. Barfly's gone.
But whatever's the Barfly used to be. What's the Barfly now?
It's just like the Camden Club or something. When I moved to London, I was like, oh, I'm going to go to Camden and go to. It was so rubbish by the time even I got there.
Right.
I was like, where's all the rock bands and the music?
Yeah.
But then also I was on my own, and it was a little bit like I never really have friends. Well, I do have friends, but not like groups.
Yeah.
Of people.
But I think for us it really worked because we started to recognise that there were people coming who weren't anybody's friends, and they were coming regularly.
Maybe it's still like that. I don't know.
I don't know, because whenever I sort of think about why would you go on a tour if you have no audience? It'd be a complete waste of time. You're not going to build anything.
At least everyone knows where you can find them. Well, a good thing now maybe would be like social media and a residency, because you can always be like, you can find us every Friday at this place and every Saturday at this place.
I think social media is the new flyering.
Yeah, I don't think it can be just that. Gigging must still be because the true music fans are going out to live music, and they're the people that you want ultimately going to tours, right? Because that's the only thing that pays now as well.
Okay, yeah. I've no idea what it's like to start up a band in this day and age. I've no idea.
I don't know, it's weird. It's strange. There's this girl I follow on social media called Odie Lee. She writes really, really cool music. And then she's like, I'm finally coming to the UK, which is amazing for someone from like Southern States of America because it costs so much. Yeah. And she posted it, and then the next day she's like, oh, my London show is sold out, so I've added another. I'm like, what?
Wow.
She's put on like 12 dates or something. I was like, I was thinking of going. It's in November. It's already sold out.
Well, do you think that she knew that like her social media audience was, England based or something like that? Or?
I think she's grown it quite a lot, and she writes new music and releases it, and then releases it on Spotify and gigs. I think she does a lot of gigs in her state and states around there. So the clips she shows are her playing music live, and sometimes in her bedroom. And I don't know, it just feels really, she feels like it, I don't know, really, music's good. It's almost like country, but not really.
But if it's good, it's probably honed by doing those gigs though, isn't it?
Yeah, she really knows her voice.
Yeah, it's worth doing gigs just to get better and figure out what you're good at, really.
But maybe there must be a lot of artists now who get published or signed and they've never played a gig in their life. That's happened. I think it was I can't say. I won't say the man, Pink Pantheress. But now she's huge.
Pink Pantheress?
Yeah. She's like, makes little beats in her bedroom and then, sings along. And now she's done a collaboration with Ice Spice, who's another young rapper, female rapper. Yeah. She basically got signed in the middle of COVID or just after COVID, after never playing a gig. But I've seen clips of the live shows and they are a little bit weird.
Okay. like somebody who's never done a live show before.
Yeah, because they're just kind of like, it's like if you put someone up on, it's very weird being on a stage. The times I've been on a stage to do sound checks or have to say something, it is completely different. It's not how you ever imagine it, is it? Well, I don't know, you're used to it now. But when you go from the front to that, it's the view is not what you think it will be.
You know what? I did a gig in St. Louis like a couple of weeks ago, or a week ago or something. And it was a corporate show. Steve Stevens was the guitarist. It was awesome. Daryl Mack from Run DMC came on. And at one point, I sang a few songs. That was easy. You just walk on stage, get the microphone, do the gig, really. And then, but then there was the sort of triumphant bit at the end when all of the people that had played throughout the night came on, and we did a version of Paradise Cité, and I was just playing guitar and doing some backing vocals. I chose quite a low country harmony, Maybe down in the you know, down there somewhere. And I did put my finger in my ear for more for the visual of it, really.
So they knew that you were harmonizing.
Yeah, because I am harmonizing now. That's the international sign language for that. The closed caption would say harmonizing.
In country tone.
It was a country tone, yeah.
Low country
I definitely
tone.
countrified it. But the time that I was just playing guitar, I was like, it's harder to not be at the front for me.
That's because you're a show off.
I know why it is.
No one's looking at you.
I thought that would be all right, but it's like...
And you've less control, I guess.
No, it's not that. It's more like, why am I here?
Imagine,
not just on the stage, but just...
Imagine if you were the keyboardist. That's even worse.
I was the keyboardist.
I know.
I used to do that.
I know,
That's what I'm
but
saying.
imagine if that was your life. Imagine they never made it to frontman.
But I think that's why I never really invested in the success of the band that I was only playing keyboards in.
I'd want to be a frontman if I was going to be in the band.
Sometimes we're playing places that are so small there wasn't even room on the stage for the keyboard, so I'd be like right over here. Yeah. And then
you just need attention on you.
Hey?
You need attention on you. You're like it's like the photosynthesis for your flowers.
Yes, exactly.
Your leaves.
But I think back in those days, like this, we had a singer that was disinclined to sort of say stuff in between songs. And I'd be like, yeah, I'm going to say something then, because obviously I had a microphone because I was doing backing vocals as well. So like the song would finish and I'd be like, hey, how's everyone doing tonight? Yeah, it's over here. Yeah, it's me in the corner. You know, like that. Why was I doing it? You know, that's what I mean about the souffle oven. I think my doing that stuff undermined him so much that it was like, okay, so if this band has got a singer that isn't the leader...
You should have stepped up.
Well...
You're going to be frontman it.
I was a side man.
Not you, the other guy. If you're going to be at the frontman it. I don't want a frontman. That's not a frontman.
Did you just say a flunt man? Did you just say you don't want a flunt man?
No, I don't. Now I'm looking at your crotch.
Sorry.
But I brought my friend to the 1975 and she fell in love with him, Maddie Healy.
Of course.
She was like, I've fallen in love. I can't live my life without him now.
Yeah.
But then she saw Paolo Nutini last night and she's like, now I'm in love with Paolo Nutini. And he did that stance that you do. She sent me a picture of Paolo Nutini last night in
What
Dublin.
was the stance?
You know, the one where this is the microphone. And you do this where you where you sing like that?
I never do that. What are you talking about?
When you're joking, you know the way you pretend to do this sometimes and you sing into the mic. You do it in sound checks. You do it. You stick your arse out. You know that one?
I'm just as God made me. That arse sticks itself out.
Yeah, but you do that thing where you do that.
Going with the flow. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Over it. Yeah. Why do you think you don't know what you talk about?
Oh, I take the piss out of that. When I do that, I'm taking the piss out of basically every singer that came out after Jim Morrison and did that.
Paolo was doing that last night.
Okay, that's what they do then, is it?
And I was like, he's doing the stereotypical charismatic stance.
Yeah, well, I mean, because basically Jim Morrison invented that, and he invented that by being fucked up and not really being comfortable on stage. Then every singer that wanted to be like a rock legend copied Jim Morrison. And then, so that's when I do that, I'm copying the singers that copied Jim Morrison.
Well, in the photo, he does look kind of hot in it. And I was like, ooh, I kind of like him like that.
Yeah, well, of course it's hot. I mean, it's Paolo Nutinos. Whatever he does is going to be hot.
Look at his hair, look at his arms. He's changed?
What's he changed?
He looks like a different kind of man, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's powerful.
He looks powerful. His hair is long and his arms are big.
Yeah.
Don't know what's going on.
He's copying me, that's what he's doing.
Yeah, look.
It's like a Malcolm Young haircut, actually, isn't it?
Yeah, he looks good. But he's frontmanning now, so frontmen have a certain effect, and that's what their job is. They're supposed to make you feel a feeling, and that's what happened when we were in 1975. That obviously happened to me last night with the Paolo Nutini.
Yeah,
I think my friends and I are both really
those are two brilliant frontmen.
I know, but me and her have the same
voice,
sort of personality where we will fall in love with a frontman if he acts like a frontman. And we like that. That's what we want. That's why we go to the show.
We as in human beings, you mean?
Yeah, and some people maybe don't like it. They find frontmen arrogant, you know. Yeah,
it comes with the territory though, doesn't it? That's kind of like, if you're doing your job properly, that's how it's going to look.
You playing a role.
Mm.
Like
Yes.
you're not going to go shopping in the same way.
That is a good point. And then if you're talking about the how you make it thing, it's not just a case of being tenacious when you're fronting a band or you're doing something like that. You have to. It's like I always used to say that it was a bit like method acting.
Well, you need to embody it, right?
Yeah, and then you can't stop when the gig finishes. You know, you can't put your jumper and your glasses back on, and you still got to do that thing. So if it doesn't flow through you and stay with you after the gig, nobody believes it.
But when you're not like that, the version of you on stage all the time.
No, but I was back then.
Yeah, but it was detrimental to you, right?
It was detrimental to my health, I would say, and certain relationships as well. When I say certain relationships, I mean all of the relationships that matter. The people I work with, the people I'm supposed to be in a band with, you know.
But do you think any
my
of that
family, my friends, you know, everything.
Do you think that leaves residue?
Like ectoplasm or something?
Like that part of you, yeah, is still in you, and you still feel like that sometimes. Like, I'm that guy, and I should be able to behave in whatever way I want, and like that, because it must be a part of you, though, that's in there.
Yeah, I think what's weird about it is like the normal rules don't apply. You know, the societal kind of parameters that exist, they completely disappear when you're on stage. And to the extent where someone like Matty will start smoking in a venue that hasn't allowed smoking for the last 15 years.
That's because the show is deemed a play, not a show.
Okay.
So it's allowed.
But, okay, yeah. We saw Youngblood doing the same thing. What's that, a show or a play?
I don't know, unless they manage to get it
But
right.
people smoke on stage.
Yeah.
Because the rules don't apply. And that's one of the reasons why people do it, is to show that the rules don't apply when you're on stage. And that's what makes it aspirational, isn't it? It means you can live your life in whatever way you want, the truest existence, chasing the creative entity that you're, you know, putting into the world, and just living through that, no rules. And then when you come off stage, if you stop doing that, people don't buy into it, because a lot of the sort of anecdotes that you hear aren't about how great a show was. They're about what the person was like after you, if you bump into them afterwards. And some of the best stories are going to be, yeah, I saw this band, the singer was brilliant, you know, really wild, whatever. I met him afterwards and he was a complete prick. And what do you fucking expect? You know,
but
you can't have it both ways, you know?
No one likes that anymore. That whole prick vibe is not, people aren't into it anymore.
Well, that makes it difficult to do that job then.
People are like, they love it when they find out someone's nice now. It's their like favourite thing. And when they find out someone's not nice, sometimes people won't listen to their music anymore.
Yeah.
It's like,
I had a situation, it wasn't in the early days, it was more kind of like when we'd reformed and we were touring. I was having a really bad day, we'd had some rough travel, it was these are my excuses. And
coming of why I was the excuse.
Yeah, I was and, no, but so I got out of this van and I was getting my bags and everything, and it was a hot day, I had too many clothes on, I was flustered and it was annoying. And we were staying in this hotel where it was a wedding venue as well. And then this bloke came up to me and said, "Oh, John, it's brilliant. You're a lot of famous, aren't you?" Or something, you know. Or, you know, it was one of those things, "Oh, someone told me you were a band. Will you come and have a picture with the bride?" And I was like, "No, sorry, I don't want to be in the picture with the bride. Just do your wedding. Don't worry about it, you know." And then it was like, "No, go on." And eventually I had to tell him to fuck off. Because I couldn't I don't know, for some reason I didn't feel like I was able to say, "Oh, all right then." You know what I mean? Like I was too tired.
I think I've seen you in situations like that.
Come off it.
No, I don't mean where you've tell someone to fuck off, but where I can see that you just don't really like being approached that much, do you?
What do you mean? I love it. It's my favourite stuff. When have I been unapproachable?
I don't know how you're being sarcastic.
No, but when have I been like that?
I feel like you have a standoffish vibe.
You're not the first person to say that to me this week.
But it doesn't mean that you're not nice. I just feel like it would be like if I was in your situation, I'd probably be like you. Except if I was for some reason in a very jovial mood where I was kind of like more outward in my way.
We discussed in a previous conversation that I don't have curiosity about people's lives. And I think we were trying to establish what that means and why.
Yeah, well, we settled on that, didn't we?
But isn't that part of the same thing, do you think?
No, I think you might just have a protective layer around you.
Yeah.
And also, with me, people think I'm horrible when they... Well, not that they don't think I'm horrible, but they think I'm cold when I first meet them.
Right.
But in my mind, I'm not trying to be cold. I'm just a little bit like, oh, there's a new person in my vision and I'm just trying to assess who they are. I don't know who this person is. Probably on a subconscious level, not on a conscious level going, who's this person? Let's do a scan. But my brain is like, takes me a little while to...
It would be funny if you said, let's do a scan.
But you know what I mean? When a person comes up, I'm like, I'm not like, not extroverted in that way.
Yeah.
You know, like being around people drains
But the thing
me.
is, from my point of view, like if I'm like that, it's because I have experienced things like, there was some stuff about me that was in the press and I'm sitting there with an ex or something like that. And then somebody comes over and sits down.
Oh yeah, you've said this one.
And actually thinks that they know something about my life to the point where they're able to sort of insert themselves into it based on what they think they know, what they've read, or
yeah, maybe.
You know what I mean? And
I've always thought you were kind of shy.
That's such an imposition to me because first of all, the thing that was written was a load of old horse shit. You know, they were basing their approach on something that should never have been written in the first place. It was some tabloid nonsense. And I'm supposed to just sit there and deal with it. I told him to fuck off. I told him to fuck off as well. I mean, because fuck off.
I like it when you're mean, though.
That's fair enough, I think. Fuck off.
Well, if someone's being annoying, yeah, but they probably will tell someone. Those are fine. Those situations are not normal situations.
Yeah.
Why were you told standoffish this week? Was it
No, it was just an observation about how I am in general.
Oh. I've always thought you were a bit shy. Like when I mean standoffish, I don't mean like... But maybe because I'm in the same vein, I have a similar personality trait as that.
Yeah.
I know you're probably extroverted, introvert, and I'm probably introverted.
Extroverted, introvert is exactly what I tested as, actually.
Yeah. And I'm introvert, but if you get to know me, mental. Probably.
Yeah, well, I could have told you that.
But you know, like I'm quiet, and then if you get in, I'm really hyper and quite excitable. But you won't see that for a very long time.
Yeah.
My closest friends see it. And they all stayed on this equilibrium, and I'm like so happy that I have people I can be myself around. Well, you're yeah.
So my thing about how he made it is, I think we sustained the recklessness off stage to such a point.
Even your brother?
Yes, absolutely. I'll talk to him in the next episode, actually.
Actually, I spoke to him about the whole Camden thing like 3 or 4 weeks ago when he was in Lowestoft, when we went to the pub with your dad. And he was like, oh, it'd be cool to move back to London, because he was like, you should move back to London. But then he's like, but you live in like the most amazing place now in that house. But then there's no people here. And I was like, I don't think London has the same scene as it did, or maybe I'm just not good at fitting into scenes. Because I tried to find that scene when I first moved there. And it was hard to... But maybe you just need more peers. I don't know. Because if I do move back to London, I would like to see if there was not be in the rock scene, but I'd like to see the bands. Like I like seeing new young rock bands because they're a bit wild and untamed and rough around the edges.
Yeah, but imagine, okay, so this is the point I was making. Like you see that band and they're rough, they're untamed, and they're, the edges are frayed and it's all like edgy, and if then they come off stage and they're going to get a pint and you want to go and buy them a drink or say well done, and then they're like, oh, thank you so much, would you like to follow me on the Instagram, or please like me? Fuck off, that guy can fuck off as well. I mean,
but you could be nice. I think you can be nice and also have that wildness.
But I mean, let's have some attitude though.
Yeah,
please,
they could have, but you maybe had like a charming attitude. Like if I met someone who was like a front man and then I saw him at the bar and I was like, oh, I like him, and he was all annoying, like follow me on Instagram, I'd be like, oh. But if he was nice but a bit like
aloof,
Yeah, or like a little bit cheeky, or but he wasn't trying to hurt your feelings or anything. Like you could tell he's just playing with
Some
you.
good-natured ribbing.
Yeah, being playful. Like then that's what like Russell used to be like that. He was exactly the same on stage as off stage, which is probably why he made it famous too. He was like the.
Because I think you can't buy into a thing that's as preposterous as a rock band unless there's reality.
But I don't think rock stars have to be like. I think they have to
that isn't what I'm saying. But I think like. But the things that you exaggerate when you're on stage, if you don't exaggerate them in the same way when you're off stage, then it's really hard to convince people that it's worth listening to, I think.
So you have to, take that persona off when you get behind closed doors. And
no.
But then that's when it mightn't have sustainability.
It definitely won't have sustainability, but...
What if you have a...
But isn't the whole idea to burn bright and then burn out, isn't it?
Well, it depends. People use different phrases depending on where they land on the scale.
Okay, so give me an example of why that's wrong.
Because I don't think... I think you should be able to live a long life and create great art. I don't think you need to romanticize the whole thing of it killing.
You can create great art and live to be 150 years old. But no one's going to listen to it.
No, I don't think that's not true. What about Leonard Cohen?
Maybe I'm playing devil's advocate, but I feel like
I think
when we started to gain traction was when I was behaving really badly all the time.
Yeah,
that's
but
actually
that's fine. I'm behind closed doors. I'm not talking about like I keep talking about Russell. Russell said if he'd go back and do it again, he wouldn't use his real name.
That's interesting.
So he could be that person, that like overly flirtatious, bordering like, oh, that's a bit too far, saying stuff, and then go and be Russell.
Yeah.
Afterwards, so he could have some form of separation. So he's not just merging them two together, and then if one thinks the other one's coming, Otherwise, you can be fucked, as you guys might know.
Yeah.
Then you have that person. You have the alter ego version of you can burn even brighter until he dies. You could kill him off if you wanted, and then you'd still survive.
I saw so many things come up and look amazing and not be real. Like, do you remember Paul St. Paul? Do you remember that guy?
No.
Like a really good sort of Tim Curry-esque disco guy with some cool songs and sort of interesting aesthetic and looked awesome. But that character was so obviously a character that it didn't get off the ground, really.
Yeah, maybe it needs to be... Well, I guess that's like in any good novel or art, if the character is too one-dimensional or preposterous, it doesn't... You need to be able to suspend your disbelief. That's the whole good thing about good films, right?
But what I'm saying is, like, you can be preposterous like that, and if you use your own name, and you've been preposterous throughout your school life, then it's believable. Do you know what I mean?
I don't know. Yeah.
Like, I don't think anybody from Lowestoft who knew me would be surprised by the person that I was being.
Yeah, but if you'd use an alter ego, maybe you wouldn't have had to break, if you know what I mean. If you had an ability to have both sides. You could commit to the other side for as long as you want while trying to just... The other one just isn't a nice...
Do you think that my inability to switch off that character is the reason why I ended up in rehab?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah. I mean, I didn't know you, so it's presumptuous for me to say that. But yeah, how would you switch off? People are your name's plastered everywhere, telling you who you are and what you are.
Yeah, which is the thing that I told them I was and who I was.
Yeah, so if you identify you as that, then why would you believe any? Like, it's just going to become... We can change our own narratives really easily. You talked about your parents' stories. Once you start repeating a story over and over again, you forget what it was in the first place. It just becomes the new story and the new narrative of who you are.
Yeah.
So maybe if you did have a different name.
So I think... Okay, so...
Should have been Reg.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I did used to operate as under an alter ego, but when I was 18, I did some shows that were fully improvised. You know, it would be I would have no idea what I was going to do. It would just be a drum machine, me with a guitar. And the first show I did, I had my friend Matt Johns firing ping pong balls at me out of a special gun that fired ping pong balls. Just to keep me on my toes, really. And I supported, I can't remember who it was I was supporting, but you know, some bands that were circuit bands that were looking to break out of the East Anglian music circuit. And then I was just opening the show for them, just literally pissing about, just for half an hour. And it was some of my best work. I really believe that.
You could have been Reg.
I could have been, yeah.
But maybe you didn't know what was going to happen. So, also, how do you know? No one's prepared for.
Reg was 10 years before The Darkness. You know.
Reg could have been even more crazy.
If I'd have lived as Reg
in the public
throughout my life, I'd probably be an Elvis impersonator now in Galston.
No.
Sharing my wig with the audience and doing all that stuff.
No. You could have just taken Reg's name.
Reg. I revere Reg. I used to love being Reg.
See?
He was a hero to me.
Reg could have saved you.
He did, in a way. Because I still like it when it's all like just the trudgery of the music trade, you know. Oh, we've got to do this promo, we've got to do this music video, and all the things that I just can't be bothered with. I always lay there in my bed thinking, but I could always just throw it all away and do Reg. Just do Reg.
Maybe you could do a secret Reg show somewhere.
Secret
I can
Reg.
fire the ping pong balls at you.
Okay. Not in the face, though.
Just in the genitals over and over again.
Okay. You'd have to be a good shot. But I mean, I think like I just end up covered in welts.
It's like, why are you using a paintball gun? I just said ping pong.
Yeah. No, but I suppose the how to make it, I think the one thing that I would say still applies, even though the music trade has changed immeasurably, is that the authenticity of what you're doing needs to be demonstrable. And the way we used to do it is like, so when we're out partying and we're doing gigs, it's the same level of wildness, you know, no rules.
But not everyone's seeing you partying. Like,
I know, but the ones that... But you find yourself in situations, if you're in a scene like London, where the people that you bump into, they are influential without even realising it, you know? Because then the stories about you grow.
What about now, though? Who?
Now?
Yeah.
Nobody sees me in any situation apart
Not
from...
you.
Oh, okay. We're not talking about me.
I'm talking about you in this exact moment. I'm sorry.
Yeah, okay.
I'm going to take the light off you for a second.
Don't apologise.
Don't get too bored. Is there any... what artists now have a reputation that makes them more famous or lends them...
Matty from the 1975.
Sorry, you said that really loud. Yeah, but he's hanging up... Truman Black was his alter ego in the latest video. He's hung up that... He put that name badge in a bin and he's put the Maddie name badge back on. What does that mean?
That means that Matty and who was the other one? Truman
Black. He said he came up with that name when his mum was famous because people used to find him on the internet. Truman Black is what his fans call like the really like sleazy, ratty matty kind of sexy guy. He was like drunk on stage. He was drunk on stage when I saw him because he was drinking Guinness. He forgot he started the song wrong. He's like, I'm just a pissed bloke on stage.
I think it means that he doesn't need to compartmentalize the wild man anymore. I don't think it's him throwing away Truman Black. I think it's Truman Black being
You
absorbed.
love when they come together. That's your favourite thing, is
It's
the
my
persona
favourite
and the whipper. It's your favourite thing.
Of course it's my favourite thing. Everything else is fake.
No, it's not. It's just, you love compartmentalization though.
I love compartmentalization in some instances, but I don't think when it comes to personalities, it's. I don't think that's a good idea to have two different
Not
existences.
No,
I don't
but
think that's sustainable, and I don't think it's believable either.
I don't think it's two different existences. Every time you meet a different person, you have a different face on anyway. That's like well known. When I talk to you, it's different. When I talk to my friends, it's different. Though actually, I struggle with being different in every situation. But normal people.
Well, I've seen it. I've seen it. How difficult it is to make a transition like that in my daughter. Like when she's with me, she's a certain way, and then we went out somewhere and bumped into her mum, and then she had to go back into her mum's vibe, and it was really difficult for her. You know,
Yeah,
she actually
I
just
find it
withdrew.
difficult.
She completely withdrew, and I think that's the same sort of thing that happens on and off stage. You know, it's like if you're walking down the road and you haven't assimilated the exaggerated parts that you use for on stage, and then somebody says, "Oh, brilliant, I love your music," you have to suddenly pivot into the other person for their benefit, and that's the thing you're talking about when you sort of put a different face on.
But if you're famous,
but
you
the way
think
I
people-
live now, it's the same. I think it's more or less the same on and off, but it's just varying degrees of extreme, isn't it?
I don't know.
I think it is.
I mean, I don't see the version of you on stage as the version off stage. Well, it depends.
I'm just a bloke singing.
Yeah, but you're more exaggerated, aren't you? Aren't you trying to be like... I don't know.
Be careful.
What are you trying to be? What are you trying to be?
What am I trying to be?
Yeah.
I'm really trying to be. I'm trying to be the focal point of the band. That's the only thing I'm trying to do. You know, like I've got a few tricks that I do that keeps the keeps the attention where it needs to be.
But are you trying to be like a little bit... Why is all my vocabulary has died in my brain? Like a little bit cool. And like
No, I'm
flippant.
almost doing the opposite of that.
No, because sometimes you walk around and you could kick something over and you wouldn't give a shit, but I wouldn't see you doing that. Actually, no, when you're angry, you do that when you're off stage. I don't know. I don't know. What are you thinking in your head when you're walking around on stage?
I can tell you what I think when I walk on stage.
Yeah.
I think, this is why I'm supposed. This is it. You know, this is what I'm doing. I just think, okay, now it all makes sense. I really do.
Because people think that you'd be louder off stage. When I say, people ask what you're like, I'm like, oh, you're quite quiet. And
Yeah, but I'm not. It's not that much different. So.
To you on stage, you're not sat in the corner on stage being all quiet.
When am
You're
I doing
loud
that?
and in
I never
people's
do
faces.
that. What are you talking about?
What do you mean?
Do I sit in the corner and be all quiet off stage?
Not on stage. No, I'm talking about off stage. You're quiet and laid back. You're not loud and...
Yeah, but of course,
in your face.
off stage, I'm heavily sedated, aren't I?
You know what I mean? Some people are just like in your face, loud people. You know loud people.
Yeah, I don't like those
Don't
people.
stop
actually.
talking, or they're like hyperactive. You're quite like laid back. I'm giving you a compliment in some ways.
No,
I'm
I know,
not
I
like-
appreciate it. Because it's not, like you're talking about interactions that you have off stage. But on stage, there's no such thing as an interaction. It just isn't that. I mean, it's an interaction, but it's completely on my terms.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm the bloke with the microphone. He says, not talking into the microphone. I'm the bloke with the microphone. You know, so the interactions are as and when it seems apt to me.
Yeah, I guess I would feel that if I was a front person, that it was just actually a version of my personality that there's no space in public life for me to express.
Yeah. I mean, you can really say whatever you want on stage. Just really be as real as possible. Say some stuff that needs to be said even. People use it as a platform to facilitate change, don't they?
Or even just move. People don't move the way they move on stage in real life. You can't like bounce around and gyrate and move your body and be like that. If you're that type of performer, obviously. Yeah,
that's true. I think when I do the Guns N' Roses show, I'm going to do like, I'm going to go for the Jim Morrison, Iggy Pop, Bono, Paolo Nutini trope, and just drape myself off the microphone looking all fucked up and sexy and see what happens. I'll probably get bottled off.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Your arse out. Just stick your arse out. It's fine.
That's a good system though. Okay, so being real, that's the thing. Got to be real.
Yeah. But also figure out a way not to kill yourself. Yeah. I know you're not into that, but you know.
Yeah. I don't know. I think when people are genuinely on the edge, it's just much more exciting to listen to that music. I don't know why that is. What is that phenomenon?
Anxiety. And anxiety creates butterflies, and butterflies make you feel like you are excited about something, but actually we're misinterpreting fear and fear warnings.
So when you see somebody that looks like they're about to die, you feel anxious because you're going to witness the demise of a thing, and you're not ready for that sort of trauma. Yeah,
but we struggle with differentiating like excitement, fear, and anxiety. That's why when people say, when you meet someone and they give you butterflies, it's actually because they make you anxious, because they make you uncertain, because you're trying to figure out if they like you, and you're trying to make them like you, and you think it's love and butterflies, but actually it's just you're anxious and they're unsettling you, and that unsettlement excites you.
Yes, you got to do that.
Yeah,
you got to do that.
I don't think that's the right way to end that sentence, but
that's the thing you're supposed to do. If you want to make it, you got to do that.
What? Be butterflies.
Make do butterflies.
Butterflies.
Butter, butterflies. Butter. Whoa.
Oh. I saw Chris Martin being interviewed, and I thought he seemed like a nice guy, and I was shocked.
That shocked you?
Yeah.
Did you think he's going to make that music and then turn out to be a
I was like, oh, he seems like such a sweetheart.
Yeah, that's the problem. Do you know? That's the problem.
He made it so big.
Yeah.
So it's going against your thing.
No, it's not, because it's authenticity. Like what you get is exactly what you see. You know? That's a guy that makes the politest, softest music, and then you meet him and he's polite and soft.
But you're on stage for a persona people sometimes think is quite arrogant.
Hey!
But would you say you're arrogant off stage?
Do you think I do?
I don't know. I feel like I don't. I know you in a different way.
I think when... I love it when things go wrong. You know, how can that be arrogant? You know, people are arrogant and go like, "Oh no, I'm perfect," or you know, do you know what I mean? Like, that didn't just happen. You know, I meant to play that note, or you know,
no, but you're kind of pompous and you've got your chest puffed up and you're bent. You know,
I definitely stand differently when I'm on stage because I'm just really happy and fulfilled by the experience of doing it.
And you act like you don't. Yeah, but you act like you don't give a shit and stuff like that.
I definitely don't.
So that might come across as arrogance. I don't know. I don't think you come across as arrogant. I'm just trying to figure it out.
I don't really mind if it does, but it's like, there's a difference between arrogance and supreme confidence, isn't there? I hope.
Yeah.
You know, I know that when I'm on stage, it's like, that's my element. And, you know, definitely there are people who are better at it and there are people who have been more successful at it. But there's nobody that enjoys it as much as I do, I don't think.
You think?
I'm totally
You
sure
don't think
of it.
anyone else
It's my favourite thing in the world. I just love doing it.
I know,
It's
but
great.
I bet there's loads of people who that's the same.
Yeah, maybe. But it feels to me like nobody can possibly enjoy it as much as I do. Because I'm
That
just
might
like,
be the arrogance.
well, maybe, yeah. Maybe that is the arrogance thing. Because I'm just like, because I don't think I was ever that ambitious, really. I don't think I wanted to do something that was really fun. And that was about it, really. Well, I wanted to headline Reading and I wanted to win an Ivor Novello. But beyond that, I wasn't that ambitious, really. You know, didn't really care about longevity or anything. Just wanted to have fun with it. And the reason why I stopped doing it, because it wasn't fun anymore. And then now it's fun again, so I'm just enjoying it.
Are you still enjoying the gigs?
Yeah, most of them. Yeah, there's sometimes we do. Last year we did a few too many festivals. I think there was some times when we were doing like a festival that's worth doing, but then to make it financially worth doing, because the offers weren't adequate, really. You know, we'd make it so that instead of paying for all of our crew and everything to be idle for the 2 days either side of a gig, you put another gig in there, and then the 2 days of travel is offset by another fee, if you see what I mean. But the other ones we were doing, they probably weren't really this kind of thing that we should have been doing. You know, a disinterested crowd in a small town festival that, you know, attended by perhaps 7 French people and a dog or whatever. And, you know, you're just kind of like, well, could have lived without that gig, really. That feels a bit pointless when you can't get an atmosphere going.
Because you said before you didn't want to do touring again.
Yeah, that was because the tour that we did in America was not fun.
But even before that, you didn't want to go.
Oh, yeah. Maybe I'm just lazy.
Yeah.
I think it's more like I don't live in a place where I can just lock it up and walk away from it. There's always stuff that needs to happen. When I come home, everything's broken. It's fucking annoying. Something's always gone wrong when I'm away that needs dealing with, and it really doesn't feel like home when you get there, and you have to do that. So it's like, well, I'd just rather not go away. You know, and I sort of, you know, the idea of going on stage is an undertaking, and it's sort of like touring is something that's quite daunting. It's a daunting prospect. You see all those dates and you don't really want to think about it, and then once you start, it's like, okay, so then I've said this before, like the day leading up to the gig is like, oh, fucking hell. Talking to journalists perhaps, or just dealing with the travel and all the stuff that's tiring, you know. And then you go on stage and it's fucking amazing. It's amazing. It's a great feeling. And then you come off stage and it's like, oh, okay. And then you go on stage like, yeah, wow, this is brilliant. And you go, you know. Maybe it's that thing that that we talked about when we extrapolated on the James Hetfield episode many occasions. Maybe it's that.
Actually, someone commented that he does take out his bins.
Yeah?
Someone said he knew someone that knew him, that he's the type of person who would take his bins out.
It's difficult to suspend disbelief on that one, though. So, how did we make it? Is that the question?
Yep.
We made it by... Oh, it's such a long answer to that. Narrow it down. Ask some more questions that are more specific.
Do you have to be delusional?
What, delusional to the point of thinking I'm going to be successful? Watch this.
No, we're going to make it.
Oh, I see.
Do you have to,
That's the same thing, isn't it?
I guess so. Like, do you have to be mildly deluded to think, oh, I'm good enough to be better than everyone else and be the main band?
No, well, the thing is, you know, I suppose you go and see a gig and then you see a guitar player or whatever and you think, well, actually, I could probably do that job. You know, I remember saying that to somebody when I was at school, walking to school with them, and he was like, what are you talking about, you with your fluffy haircut? There's no way you could do that, you know. And then I remember sort of saying it to somebody when I was 20, just at the beginning of the darkness, when, like, in the year 2000, I was 25, and I said it to somebody that I was working with at this charity, and And he looked at me like with this incredulous expression of, do you actually think that you're a star then or something? Or you said, no, you got the potential to be a star. And I was like, well, no, but someone's got to. You know, it was more like that, really. I always felt like I knew what I wanted to see a front person doing, you know.
Yeah.
And then you just do that.
Maybe you weren't the ambitious one in the band, so maybe you didn't have to be as deluded.
I think I was undermining the ambition of it a bit, really, by not trying to do what everybody else was doing, you know, or trying not to do what everybody else was doing, I suppose. Like when I was a peripheral character in a band, I was just kind of like, okay, well, we'll do this then. And the band was always sort of looking at what other great bands from the 90s were doing, you know, like Radiohead and stuff like that. And the things that we were doing were sort of getting progressive and very serious in the same way that they were doing it. And I was like playing these keyboard parts and just thinking, this isn't me. You know, this isn't me at all. I mean, I love listening to it, but, you know, there's no way I'd ever be turned on by the idea of doing it, you know. And I'm a huge Radiohead fan. I love a lot of their stuff, you know, but I just wasn't. But I couldn't see the point in doing it because Radiohead do that. We've already got Radiohead. What do you need that for? You know.
But you don't listen to the type of music you sing.
Yeah, that's true.
Really?
No, I listen to a lot of country these days, actually.
Why country?
Pardon?
Why country?
I'm not sure. Just really like the guitar playing, I think. Yeah. So I think when I was like the front person, I was doing things that was completely outrageous to me anyway, but that seemed like nobody's done that for 20 years, you know. I wasn't interested in doing anything that was serious, really.
Why?
I
Why?
just don't think I'm very good at that. I don't think I'm very good at doing serious stuff. You know.
Why though?
Actually, I think I'm better at it now. I don't think I was good
I think
at it
after
then.
you started doing the live streams, that's when you...
Yeah.
You wouldn't let me ever post a video of you singing with an acoustic guitar for like months.
Why?
Because you didn't like it. You didn't like the idea of someone hearing you sing with just an acoustic guitar.
Yeah.
And
But I
now you
think-
don't care at all.
What?
Now you don't care at all.
No, I think COVID showed me how to do that.
Yeah.
You know.
You wouldn't let me ever post just a video of you singing.
No. I don't want to.
Yeah, but you're okay with it now.
Sometimes I'm okay with it.
You've become more confident.
Yeah. I think I'm better at singing with an acoustic guitar. I never used to do that. You know.
Maybe you were just nervous.
I mean, my voice has a unique timbre and it operates in a specific range, but I don't really work on it like I should. I don't think of myself as a singer. I don't really enjoy listening to myself sing. But I think what I do it's a different kind of connection. You know, it's a different sort of... I'm a guitar player, first of all. I'm a singer, second of all. And I don't really get a kick out of hearing my own voice.
I don't like it either. I like your voice. I don't like my voice. So I get that.
Yeah, but I don't know if it's...
I don't like the timbre of it too. That's what I don't like. I wish
yeah,
it was different.
mine's a timbre
And you can't
issue.
change it. I don't think.
I think it changes. It depends how you use it, and
Some people just have a naturally beautiful sounding voice.
yeah,
It just comes
That's
out
true.
like that.
yeah. And some people have a studied voice where the timbre is not brilliant, but the control and the range is good. Some people have a combination, which is really nice. Some people have lots of affectations, but they're not brilliant at pitching. I think my thing is I'm good at pitching. I just don't... I very seldom hear my voice in a way where it moves me. I don't move myself.
But maybe that's not
when
your
I'm
job,
playing
Jim.
lead guitar, I definitely do feel like, oh my God, you know, I can feel like I can impress myself sometimes I can't do that with singing. Just don't know how to impress
Maybe
myself.
you don't believe in yourself.
I'm not sure if that's...
Maybe you haven't tried to. But
Yeah, well, I think that is part of it. I haven't worked on it. Properly. I just don't.
But didn't you cry when you sang your So Long song?
Yeah, I like that one.
See?
Yeah.
So you can move yourself.
Yeah. It takes a lot of effort, though. And I'm too lazy.
Is it or do you
It's
think it's
just
because
too
you're gonna?
hard.
Is it because you're gonna cry?
Huh?
Because you'll start crying.
What I want is to be able to start crying.
No, but maybe that's why you're not. You don't. Maybe that's why you're not doing it.
Because I don't want to start crying.
Yeah.
We did talk about the Patreon and creating a new tier where I take my trousers off and cry for an hour.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say half an hour, but
Oh, I thought it was...
it didn't have to be a full hour.
Oh, well then it's... Yeah, because I thought for that money... But yeah, half an hour.
Maybe even less
that,
than half an hour. That's a...
But do I have to do something else for the other half?
No.
Like take my top off and not cry for half an hour. And then take my bottoms off and cry.
Yeah.
How much is that?
2,000.
Links in the description. Don't forget to... Okay.
Maybe you should try and make yourself cry more. I know that it's not nice. I don't like it. I forgot that I did that thing, even though I won't include this because people don't want to hear me talk. I nearly made myself cry.
By singing?
Yeah, but I forgot that I did it. It was last night, I think. It feels like it was ages ago. I was like, what was that? And I went to bed, I woke up, and then had a vague memory that I wrote a song and nearly made myself cry.
That's what happened with that So Long song. I was really, really... I think it's partly because I'd started doing those live streams. So I was in a state of mind where I knew I could do some chords and sing. Yeah. And then I wanted to find... I just wanted to write something where I could do that. And then I found myself sort of really listening to the timbre of my voice and trying to find a good way to sing it. And my daughter said, "Oh, you're really good at singing, aren't you?" When she heard me doing it. And I was like, "Oh, okay." You know, after 9 years of her being alive and she's finally saying something like that, I knew I was getting somewhere. Maybe I just need to put the work in. That's it, isn't it? So, yeah. In order to make it, you must sustain the effort. Right?
Don't be scared of yourself.
Don't be scared of yourself. Let yourself and the exaggeration of yourself merge.
Or the vulnerable side of yourself emerge.
Embrace the vulnerability and the arrogance and the wildness and the rough bits around the edges, the mistakes. Embrace all of that.
Perfectionism's not going to get you anywhere.
No, there's plenty of time for that.
I think people are too much perfectionists.
Yeah.
It's never going to be perfect.
And just as long as you understand that it's never going to be perfect, you'll be all right, kids.
No, because some people write music and work on it and work on it and work on it. They're still like a year later, still working on it. What's the point? Just release it.
Yeah.
And then
but then there are some ridiculously brilliant records that have been made in that meticulous way.
Yeah.
You know, where they tinker at it for what seems like a lifetime, but then when it comes out, it's amazing. Like Jeff Lynne is like that, apparently. ELO guy.
What about if you're trying to make it, though? You're not going to make it if you're not releasing stuff, right? Or like at least people. You said you need to find an audience is the most important.
Yeah, I always think that people should do an album a year if they can.
That's what I mean. If you keep holding
I mean, look at
the
the really good sort of Elton John stuff, like Madman Across the Water and Yellow Brick Road and all that sort of stuff. At one point in the 70s, he was doing 2 albums a year.
Well, like King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard.
Yeah. How many have they done? 21? 23?
Yeah, something like that.
It's crazy.
But that's what I mean. You can do a tinkering album probably if you want.
Yeah.
But I'm not talking about tinkering in the way where you're making a masterpiece. I'm thinking about that neurotic, oh, it's not right, or my voice is that. I'm not talking about like creating something like insane.
I don't think there's a place for fussiness in the creative sphere.
But I know a lot of people are like that. You know, they can't just let something. I had it. I don't think I don't have it. I don't have perfectionism.
Yeah.
Because I've had to work fast.
I don't.
Also, I hate it.
I should probably try a bit harder with these long forms, like brush my hair, for example.
I put lipstick on for once.
Yeah, you did. You're doing well, actually. It's difficult to summarise the things that we've said today, because I think the question, how does one make it, or how did we make it? There probably are only like 3 rules, right? What can we say? Like, if we had to establish that there were 3 rules, authenticity, right? Tenacity.
Yeah.
That doesn't necessarily mean that you need to be ambitious and say yes to everything. It's more just you've got to keep trying, and I suppose you've got to hustle, haven't you?
So that's the hustle is the issue that a lot of people have.
Yeah, authenticity, tenacity, / hustle. And what's the third one?
Delusion.
Delusion? Or is it to be accepting of vulnerability and mistakes and all that?
Not to be scared of yourself. Don't be afraid.
Don't be reduced to inertia by perfectionism.
That's a long point.
This episode is called Justin Hawkins Rides Again, The Jaws of Victory, Pitfalls of the Music Trade. Don't be reduced to inertia by perfectionism.
Yeah. I'm writing it down. Hold on.
All right. I'm going to do the theme tune.
No, don't. Hold on.
You written it down?
Oh, I forgot the M. That's quite funny, actually. I forgot the M in perfectionism.
Perfectionism. Jeez.
Perfectionism.
Yeah. Authenticity, tenacity. Don't be reduced to inertia by perfectionism. Nice. Shall I do the theme tune?
Yeah. Justin Hawkins Rides Again.
Justin Hawkins Rides Again.
It's quite loud.
Success. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. I'd like to know what topics you'd be interested in us talking about next time. If you'd like my producer Jenny May Finn to probe me about anything else, then just suggest so in the comments and let us know what kind of areas you'd like us to explore. Next week I'll be interviewing the guitarist of The Darkness, my brother Dan Hawkins, and it's going to be a right laugh. So yeah, in the meantime, see you next Monday, and adieu, and I'll see you on the ice. Yeah, nice one. Take it easy. Okay.